Hi, welcome back to Two Minds Unfiltered.
And today we're talking about the Slenderman stabbing case.
Yes, I'm excited.
I know, I am too, because I knew about this case when it just happened.
Yeah, I heard about it in the news, and it was, 2014, so we would have been...
I would have been like 13, 14.
We would have been around the age of the girls, so
yeah,
it was kind of scary.
And also, this is obviously when Slenderman peaked, and
yeah.
we were all playing the game.
Yeah, and it was terrifying. Like, it genuinely was a freaky thing. So, should we get started? So, back in 2014, a shocking crime shook the town of Waukesha, Wisconsin. Two 12-year-old girls, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Wire, lured their friend Peyton Lautner into the woods and stabbed her 19 times. Their motive? To appease a fictional internet character known as Slenderman.
And I don't know if many of you know who Slenderman is. We'll put a picture up of him.
Yes. The least creepy picture we can find.
Yeah.
So back in 2014, that's when Slenderman came to fame, essentially. That's when he was created. He was actually created in, it was in a forum. It was creepypasta.
Creepypasta wiki.
Yeah. And so the creator of Slenderman, it was this big forum, and, they would have these fictional stories, right?
Yeah.
Nothing was supposed to be taken seriously.
No, and the thing is, why would you take that? Like, when you think about it, realistically, why would you take a scary story? I mean, I know they, said it as, a myth or something like that.
Right, it was, lore, but realistically, I mean, it's a game, too. You can play the game.
It later became a game, yeah.
Right. So it's it's not those kind of, he doesn't exist. That's the thing.
Well,
he doesn't even seem
real.
like he can exist.
No, because he's
he's 7 to 10 feet tall.
He's faceless, he's white, he
has a suit on, and he's often depicted with, tentacles growing out of his back.
So they're not tentacles, they're more black, little tendrils.
They're almost like spider legs.
Kind of. It's if you had the mix between, Venom and what's the other character that I'm thinking of?
Dr. O.
Kind of, yeah. A mix between those two if they were creating a faceless, white, 7 feet to 10 feet tall man. Like
a horror version of them, yeah.
Or also, he kind of reminds me of the Crooked Man a little bit.
Yeah, kind of. It's okay, so yes. Sorry.
But yeah, he has these, apparently the only time the tentacles... Sorry, I should stop saying tentacles. They're not tentacles. The only times the little tendrils come out is to obviously grab his victims and stuff like that. And who does he target? Children.
Yes.
Because, of course, why would he target adults?
Right, exactly.
Wouldn't be a scary story then at that point.
No.
So, he's a tall, faceless figure often depicted in a black suit. He originated from a 2009 internet meme and has since become a popular subject in online horror stories. Morgan and Anissa believed that by committing the stabbing, they could become his proxies, or his minions, and live with him in his mansion, which was called the Slenderman Mansion.
Yes, and it was in Nicollet National Forest, which was about 200 miles away from
where they were located.
Yeah, which is actually a really far distance for two 12-year-old girls to walk. They were walking there.
Yeah, so I don't know where they thought they were going, but all right.
Okay.
But he kind of became an internet sensation because, first of all, he was cool looking. He was scary. They made him out to be, and people were blowing up, making videos I saw Slenderman, because it started becoming a myth where he was actually real and that people would see him all the time. But then also people started to relate to Slenderman because lore came out that he was bullied, and that's why he became that way. And so he wasn't actually killing kids to be mean. He was killing them as kind of, or capturing them as a protector, hey, for the loners and the the people who got bullied and all this stuff. They kind of saw him as a scapegoat.
Yeah, almost. And I will say, So Peyton became friends with Morgan and Anissa. I think it was Morgan that Peyton noticed that she was kind of a loner. She didn't have many friends, and so she wanted to be her friend. She wanted to be that good person.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that turned sinister, but that was a good one. But so I mean, she probably related with that like, that lore behind the fact that he was bullied. And, you know, she was bullied a lot, too.
Yeah.
Morgan was, not Peyton. But.
No, and then even with Anissa, I was watching a documentary on it, and her mother was saying how Anissa was always a little different.
Yeah.
Apparently, as a kid, they introduced her to Bambi as her first, like, real big girl movie.
That's a sad movie.
Yes, and they were worried at first because they didn't know how she would react, because most kids would feel empathy and, you know, get sad. Well, while they were watching the movie, as the mother was getting hunted, they, instead of crying and being like, you know, like, oh no, don't die, she kept saying, run, Bambi, run, leave her behind so you can survive. She had no empathy whatsoever.
Right.
So they always knew something was a little off about her.
Yeah. The stabbing took place on May 31st of 2014, and they were playing a game of hide-and-seek in David's Park. The girls had told Peyton to lay down and, like, you know, partially cover herself with, like, leaves, you know, so she could hide better. That's what they had talked about, right?
And for context, sorry, I'm going to add this in here, because they didn't just randomly decide one day to go and play hide-and-seek. They were at a birthday party. But it was a birthday party that they were at, so they didn't see anything weird about going off and playing on their own.
No, like, you know, so, like, these two girls, Morgan and Anissa, they were, like, this was premeditated. Like, they were planning on, like, luring her out there and, like, killing her.
Yep.
Which is scary. Like,
as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old?
Like, yeah, and Peyton had no idea. Like, when she, was watching an interview on her, and, you know, she talks about how they went out, they left the house, and they went to the park, and she didn't think anything of it. She's like, oh, we're just going for a walk, like, in the woods, like, it's not a big deal.
No, they must have done that a few times, obviously.
Yeah. And then, you know, playing hide and seek, like, that's not unnatural.
No, we used to play hide and seek all the time, and it made it more fun to do it in the woods because it was kind of creepy.
That and, like, playing manhunt?
Yeah.
Like, that is fun.
And they all must have connected on some level of liking all of this, like, Slenderman stuff, because that was the rage then, and that's how, you know, Morgan and Anissa...
They bonded over that.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. A little bit freaky. But, so, then, and this is actually what they said. So Morgan whispered to Anissa and said, "Are you ready?" And Anissa said she was kind of nervous. So Morgan was the ringleader of this, right? Anissa replied, she was like, "Yes, let's do it." But she was kind of nervous, like, at the time. Like, it was kind of scary. I mean...
Well, yeah, because they're about to kill someone in real time.
Exactly. Like, they're going through with this plan that they've thought about for a long time. And so then they go ahead with the attack. They attacked Peyton, and she's obviously crying and screaming and trying to, like, escape, and she's confused. I mean, these are her best friends, and they're stabbing her to death, so I don't know. And one thing I found interesting was Bella was the code name that the girls used to refer to Peyton when they were planning the attack.
Yes, but I will say the reason why they chose Bella was because Peyton herself called herself Bella.
Yes.
That was, like, her nickname. Everyone knew her as Bella. It's like, it's one of those things where when you're a kid, you know you want to change your name to the name you want.
Right,
so, like,
exactly.
that was hers. So, but yeah, they used that because they used that in interviews.
Yeah, they did.
All the time.
I did see that, and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh,
I mean,
interesting.
It's just kind of like, but... The girls stabbed Peyton a total of 19 times in the arms, legs, and torso with a 5-inch, like, kitchen knife. 2 wounds were to major organs, and 1 stab wound missed a major artery by less than a millimeter. She got incredibly lucky.
Oh, so lucky, because the thing is, like, these are 12-year-old girls stabbing, which I don't know if both of them stabbed or only one of them was stabbing.
I think they both.
Because Morgan was the only one that had active blood on her.
Maybe, I think it might have just been one.
I think so,
I
too.
think Anissa was holding her down.
Either holding her down or making sure she didn't escape. Something.
Yeah, something like that.
But just, like, these uneducated on, you know, any type of organ and stuff like that, the fact that she missed it by a millimeter is crazy.
It's a miracle.
Honestly, that's what's probably saved her life right there.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, that was a major artery. That was the artery that comes off of the heart, so your aorta. Yep. That would have killed her instantly. She would have just bled out.
Yep.
So, that it's a miracle that, you know, Morgan missed that when she was stabbing her. And then it also says that another stab wound went through her diaphragm and cut into her stomach and liver. So, after the attack, the girls told Peyton to lay down, and then they would go find help. Which they did not, obviously. They just left her to die in the woods. But Peyton miraculously crawled to a nearby road where she was found by a cyclist.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, imagine being the cyclist and, like, seeing this, like, 12-year-old girl that's, like, been brutally stabbed crawling out of the woods.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd be terrified. I think that's a horror movie in itself.
It's like the Ring.
Well, it's like The Ring or like The Walking Dead when there's like the crawler ones.
Yeah. They're just like...
They're like... And I'm like, ooh. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Not today. Not today.
But then she was rushed to a hospital and she ultimately survived the brutal attack.
Yeah.
So...
I will say, because obviously that when they said that they were gonna go and get help, like lay down, go get help. First of all, they weren't running to go get help. They were actually running towards the mansion because they thought they would get there. I don't know where they thought they would get there. Literally still holding the murder weapon.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Okay. Geyser and Wire were apprehended about 5 hours after the attack near Steinhafels?
That's how I would say
I'm
it.
going to just pronounce it like that. Sorry if I'm wrong. Furniture store on I-94. This was approximately 4.9 miles from the attack location.
They made it a good distance. Almost
They
5
did.
miles.
Well, the thing is what... and this, like, wasn't funny, but, like, this just, like, showed the stark, difference in, like, how they were interviewed because, Anissa wasn't worried about, like, how far they got. She was just worried, like, what condition Peyton was in, because she wanted to either, you know, she felt remorse and was like, did she not die? Is she going to live? Or, I want to make sure I got my... If I'm getting this, I want to make sure my job's got done. But then Morgan literally asked the interviewer, and she was like, so how far did we get? And she was like, the interviewer was like, huh? She was like, how far did we run? Because I'm not very athletic, so I wanted to see how far I was actually able to run. And I was like, that's what's your concern right now?
Girlfriend.
How far you got? Like, are you going to put that on your record? Like,
yeah.
You're like, I'm a fast runner. I run almost almost 5 miles. Woo! That's not what we're concerned about here, child.
Like, you just brutally attacked your best friend.
And you're wondering how far because you're not usually athletic. So you what?
Yeah.
Do you want a gold star for that?
And keep in mind, so they were 12 at the time of the attack, but Peyton had met like a Morgan and Anissa in 4th grade, so they had become really good friends. They were friends for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
anyway, so the girls were in possession of the knife used in the attack, and they said that they were then traveling to meet with Slenderman at his home, referred to as Slender Mansion. It was allegedly located in Nicollet National Forest, which was 200 miles from where they were apprehended.
Yeah.
I mean...
They walked 5 miles, so they still had 195 miles to go.
But the thing is,
they were really making good time.
They really didn't... Like, they say that they planned this for 2 months, but you really... How... Okay. My question is that if... Because, like, this was the thing, is everyone wanted to go to the mansion because that's where they thought they could become his little proxies. But the thing is that, like, okay, then how are you supposed to get there, guys? Because, like, them at 200 miles away, you're just gonna freaking walk?
Well, apparently, according to them, yes. They were just
I know, but,
there.
like, what a plan that is. And also, do you not think that your parents would have a search party out for you?
That and, they're 12 years old, I'm assuming they have bicycles. They could have just brought their bikes. And done that.
That's at least a little faster. They might have gotten a little farther.
They might have made it 10 miles.
Exactly. But at least they would have trekked a bit more ground at that point.
Exactly. I'm like, okay.
They didn't even, like, have food. There was literally a birthday party behind them, and they didn't, like, take some of the food with them in a backpack.
Nope. They just were like,
we gotta go. Yeah. Still carrying the weapon, by the way.
Yeah.
Didn't even try to dispose of it.
It's like, wouldn't you leave... I don't know.
At least leave the weapon there. They can still find your fingerprints, but at least you're not just like... Hey.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Obviously not planned out enough. But
no,
I mean, to be fair, they are 12 years old.
Yeah. So and then they're in such a delusional state of, like, Slenderman, you know, he's either going to kill us or we need to become his proxies.
Yeah.
Or they'll kill our family. So they were in, like, desperate, like, we gotta kill this
was
person.
necessary for them to survive. Yeah. I guess.
Anyway. Go.
Anyways. Oh, wait.
disappeared.
Both girls were ultimately found not guilty by reason of insanity. Mm-hmm. And it was described in the interviews and, like, her testing, that Geyser was described as being apathetic. So if you don't know what apathetic is, it's lack of emotion, you don't feel guilty, you don't feel empathy to the person or whatever you did. Mm-hmm. But Wire was described as displaying guilt and for stabbing Peyton. So, and both girls said that they maintained that the attack was necessary to appease Slenderman. Mm-hmm. And
well, because in when they were talking to the detectives when they were trying to figure out like all what had happened, because at this point they were pretty certain they killed him, or they tried to kill Peyton. They kept saying who is. We're getting pretty good at these mornings now. But they kept asking her, who is this Slenderman creature? Why is this so important to you that you do this? And it's I know Anissa was more of just she almost tried to pin it on Morgan, saying oh, well, Morgan was the one who really wanted to do this and stuff like that. And then when Morgan would talk, she's oh, Anissa introduced me to this. So it's their stories wouldn't correlate, and then they would kind of blame each other for it almost.
Well, I mean, they're two young girls that have committed a major crime. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're gonna try and get out of it a little bit.
True. Because obviously, well, I do remember Anissa saying that she didn't deserve as much time because she didn't actually do any of the killing. She just watched it happen.
Right.
But I think it was during the interview when they were asking who is this Slenderman creature, Morgan was more of the one that was I needed to, or they were going to kill my family, and I didn't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And Anissa was kind of just yeah, he was just this guy that I see in my dreams sometimes. She almost seemed like she was more comfortable and friendly with the Slenderman creature than Morgan was more of I will become your slave because I don't want you to hurt me,
right,
type of deal. So, because they both were weirdly obsessed. And even the parents, apparently Morgan's family would keep checks on her. They never allowed her to close her door and stuff when she was on her iPad and stuff like that. And they'd always be hey, iPad time, and then it's time to come hang out with the family. And so he always came up with he's if she had something wrong with her, I would have known about it. I'm you probably still wouldn't.
Even if she had iPad time that was monitored, it's
mm-hmm.
not really monitored. So...
No.
Regulated, I guess.
Yeah, and then Anissa's mother, Anissa told her about Slenderman, and then at the time she's well, you think as a kid, we all kind of come up with a scary myth that we all have in our childhood that we all kind of get obsessed with or scared of. She's for us, it was it when we were kids.
Exactly.
So she's I didn't think anything of the obsession because it was something that we would do as kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Because people were trying to blame them that they missed all these signs of their kids. So
it's a cultural thing. When something becomes a craze or a thing, mm-hmm. Kids get scared of it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, think of the clown thing that happened.
Yeah,
that was
going the killer everywhere. Clowns around. Yeah, I mean. People took that way too far. Obviously, mm-hmm. This was taken way too far. But, I mean, people were actually dying from the killer clowns. Mm-hmm. People got abducted and things like that. So, yep. These things, they just get out of hand. And
they do.
Even, with the
media.
Even with the challenges, the cinnamon challenge, the eraser challenge.
The ice bucket challenge, because that was also a popular one that was happening at the time.
Yeah, things would just get out of hand because people wanted views. Mm-hmm. And
still happens to this day.
Oh yeah,
still happens.
So
just saying. Anyway, sorry,
that's our 2 cents on that.
I didn't mean to go off on that, but I wanted to talk about how their view on Slenderman, because I said earlier how some saw it as a sign of oh, well, he also got bullied, he's just like me, he takes care of kids like us, he kind of puts a cloak over it. They see a kindred spirit in him almost.
Yeah. I think Morgan and Anissa found that because they were kind of
mm-hmm.
loners.
They were. So. They were both, because their parents were very excited when they made friends with each other, because they were both very alone and by themselves. So,
mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure.
For sure. So Morgan and Anissa were arrested and charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide. And during the investigation, it was revealed that Morgan suffered from schizophrenia, while Anissa was diagnosed with a shared delusional disorder. Ultimately, the girls were, even though they were only 12 years old, they were tried and convicted as adults. It was a Class A felony.
Well, yeah, because it's just like if you can do adult-like crimes, you should be punished like an adult.
Well, I mean, the nature of the crime is just horrific.
Well,
so,
yeah, how else are you supposed to judge them? You can't. They attempted murder. They're no longer. You can't just send them to juvenile prison for a year, slap the back of their hands, and send them on their way.
No, like this was a heinous crime, and so Anissa, well, in 2017. So it took a while to get to court, and for the trial to ensue, but in between that period of time, they were doing a lot of testing on the girls and, psychological testing to see if they were even competent to stand trial.
Yeah.
So in 2017, Anissa was sentenced to 25 years in a mental institution, and Morgan received a sentence of 40 years in a mental health facility. And I believe that they both had the possibility of parole.
Only one did.
I think it was Anissa.
It was.
So, because Morgan was the one. They deemed Morgan as like the ringleader, like the mastermind.
She was the least stable one out of the two.
Yeah, she was the mastermind that basically like concocted this whole thing and carried it out, right? Mm-hmm. And so I believe Anissa took a plea deal because she felt that because she didn't actually do the crime, she shouldn't,
Yeah, she arranged the plea offer, but was found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect due to final diagnosis.
Yes. So this case sparked a nationwide conversation about the influence of the internet and, young minds and the importance of mental health awareness because, my God.
And also, because I think it also sparked more strictness with parents and the technology, because then at that point they're thinking like, what is my kid like? Because you can't escape anything on the internet, but you can control how much you see something. Mm-hmm. And also to try not to let you believe everything that happens on the internet.
Exactly.
Because, man, Slenderman he skyrocketed.
He did.
I mean, shit.
And, so the forum, like the creepypasta wiki, even before the case obviously went public, but before Peyton's name was released to the public, they had already set up a fund to raise money for the victim at that point. Mm-hmm. And they made it known that that's not what they stood for. They didn't
create it so that people would start killing each other.
Exactly.
It was just, I believe it was a forum where
it was for writers.
It was just creative writers that wanted to get a story out, and I believe he was trying to get his name out there and just, I think it was for an entry or something like that, and he just he wanted to create a quick little story. He didn't expect it to blow up. He didn't expect anyone to try and kill someone from it. It was obviously a fictional character that the goal for him was to create a scary story that people believed, because you want it to be believable, because then it's not a good story otherwise.
Exactly.
So I don't blame the guy, because he didn't do it at a thought that it would even, first of all, blow up.
Right.
I blame it on the fact that the media took it too far and started to create almost a fandom for it.
Yeah.
Because that's when it started turning toxic, because when people heard about the proxies, they're like, well, how do we do that? And then someone came up with the reason how to become a proxy. So
right. Basically human sacrifice.
Yeah, because what else would it be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So recently, I believe, what is it, Anissa?
Yes,
I think
there's talk of her possibly coming out.
Yeah, she applied for parole or release or something like that. And so the judge is reviewing that, and so she might be released. She has strict stipulations surrounding her release if she is granted that, but
Yep.
there is talk of that. So
Yeah, because there was a hearing on March 10th in 2021 where she was 19 years old at this time. She was just stating that she was sorry and deeply regretful for the agony, pain, and fear that she caused to the community and to the victim. She hated her actions on that day, but through hours of therapy, she no longer hates herself, and that she should be released because she is now, she's given in to her guilt. And she's
repented.
She's learned from her wrongs.
Yeah.
But she's apparently they're going to be supervising her progress until she's about 37 years old.
Yeah. So, like I said, very strict, stipulations for her if she does get
Well, yeah, because when she
released.
first went into the institute, she was required for 3 years of confinement.
Yeah.
And, yeah. The Slenderman stabbing case remains a tragic reminder of real-world consequences of online myths and the need for vigilance and understanding the mental health of our youth, because it still lives on today.
It does.
It's never gotten better.
No, it's just changed with
because while it's not as much horror anymore, it's anything else.
Yeah, I mean, even the trends, the challenges that were going on through when we were in school, the eraser challenge, the cinnamon challenge, the Tide Pods. I don't know.
The ice and salt challenge. Did you already say that one?
Yeah. There was just so many things that took it people died from doing these things. And it just went too far.
It did.
So it's not necessarily just horror things, it is anything that gets taken too far.
In the media? Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So in 2024, Geyser, which is Morgan, the main perpetrator, petitioned the court for release 2 years after withdrawing a petition in 2022, 2 months after filing. A judge denied the request for release at a hearing in April 2024. So this just was recently happening. So she just got denied again. I don't think she's going to be coming out ever, to be honest with you. But then in January 2025, a court has approved Geyser's appeal for release. Experts claim that she has made considerable progress battling her mental illness.
Personally, I don't think she should be eligible for release.
I think so
she
either.
should have gotten life in prison.
I mean, I will say her delusion of killing for Slenderman is probably long gone. Because times have changed, and that's not the sole focus anymore. But she should still... I don't know if she should be out in society.
No. I believe that people can change, and yes, she was young at the time of the crime, but you have to, with a mental disorder like that, you have to remain on a strict regimen, and I don't know. I don't think that she should be released. But it's not up to me.
Yeah, and there's really been no updates on wires and stuff like that. I know that because they've been focusing more on Geyser because she's the one that's really appealing to come out. Mm-hmm. And people are afraid that she is actually going to get out, which she very well could. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a good idea, but what do we know?
Right, exactly. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up the Slenderman stabbing case. Mm-hmm. We will keep you up to date on any new updates with this case, and yeah.
Or let us know, because if we forget, update us on anything that's happening. I don't know.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and turn on all notifications, since we are changing our schedule.
Yes.
So we will be posting bi-weekly now. So be sure to turn on that notification bell so then you get notified when we do upload.
Yes. So that you don't forget that we upload bi-weekly.
Yes.
Because I know sometimes the week can get away from you.
Yeah.
If you really want to be updated a lot faster and stuff like that, TikTok is our main platform that we post on, where we post little short clips throughout the entire time that it's being waiting to upload, so you never have no content. There's just nothing. So you can follow us there. We also do post some repeats on other platforms as well.
So look out for those. And
everything's still the same with Spotify. Obviously, we don't have a episode coming out this week. It'll probably come out the same week that this one comes out.
Yeah.
Which will be nice because then I can just do it all at once.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well,
I think that concludes Slenderman.
I think so.
Watch yourselves if you're going to play the Slenderman game, because now everyone's probably going to be intrigued by Slenderman.
I know. And stay safe,
yeah.
Stay happy, and we'll see you next time. Deuces!